Buenos dias. Bienvenido a la Iglesia Unitaria Universalista de la Misión Shawnee. Quien quieres que seas, quien quiere que ames, donde quiera que estés en el viaje de tu vida, eres bienvenido aquí. Good morning. Welcome to Shawnee Mission Unitarian Universalist Church. Whomever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. We are so happy that you have chosen this sanctuary and time, and that you're here is something to celebrate. We extend an especially warm welcome to our visitors. We'll be waiting to chat with you at the welcome desk after the service. Remember, we were all newcomers once. And if you're joining us online, please say hi in the chat. We now invite everyone to rise and greet one another. And now we have a few announcements. The third session of the UU History course is today at 12 noon in the multipurpose room. The topic is Universalist Origins and Influence. All are welcome and light snacks are provided. And now we have a stewardship campaign update from Fisk Miles. Do I see Fisk? All right. Calling once. All right, Fisk may have something to share with us toward the end of the service, but I know from online that it is going very well, and again, thank you for everyone who has made their donations to the stewardship campaign. Much appreciated.
Almost 85 years ago, African-American author Richard Wright was chronicling the origin and history of Black oppression in this country. In the midst of all the misery of rural poverty and the weariness of the hard life that he found in northern ghettos, he found spiritual strength. He said, "Our churches are where we dip our tired bodies in cool springs of hope, where we retain our wholeness and humanity despite the blows of death." It's important that we come together in good times and in bad times to support, comfort, encourage, and to challenge each other. It's important that we connect with each other, even when some of us might be experiencing the need or desire to isolate or withdraw. It's important that we come to church, to communities like this one, to care for our tired bodies and for the tired bodies of our neighbors, especially our neighbors who are threatened with the blows of death, threatened with deportation, gun violence, or the loss of their health care, or with sexism, sexual assault, harassment, bullying, loneliness, isolation, or loss of hope. To care for our tired bodies, we must know and admit that we are tired. We must tell ourselves and others that we have needs, that we have griefs and losses along with our joys and celebrations. Some days we come to church to give blessings to and share blessings with our fellow journeyers. And some days we come to church because we need a blessing. Come, let us worship together. Please rise as you're willing and able for hymn number 318 in the gray hymnal, We Would Be One.
Selves anew to that high cause of greater understanding of who we are and what in us is true. We would be one in living for each other to show to all we would be one in building for tomorrow a nobler world than we have known today. We would be one in searching for that meaning which binds our hearts and points us on our way. As one we pledge ourselves to greater service, with love and justice strive to make us free.
As Karen comes forward to light our chalice, please join us in reciting our covenant. Let us affirm that love is the doctrine of this church, the quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with one another.
At this time, we invite all of the children to come forward. I don't know where Rose usually sits, but I'm going to sit right here with you all, if that's okay. This morning's story is adapted from a story by Lynn Unger, and it's called The Mishmash Heart. Recently, at an event at a Unitarian Universalist congregation, everyone was encouraged to create a heart. They were given some construction paper and some glue and some markers to design their hearts. And there was a young girl named Emily who was working diligently to create the most perfect, beautiful heart she could. It even had glitter in the shape of diamonds around the perimeter. As she was helping to clean up, she noticed a woman who was around the same age as her grandmother, sitting at a nearby table working on her heart. And Emily didn't know how to say it, but her heart looked much less beautiful than Emily's. It was a mish-mash mess of odd colors. Many of its pieces had been ripped and torn and glued any which way. Parts of it were wrinkled and crinkled, and there was even a hole in it. Thinking there was something wrong, Emily offered to help the woman fix her heart. But the woman merely smiled and explained that there was nothing wrong with her heart. It merely revealed all the things which had happened to her in her life. Well, Emily was confused by this. The woman said that there were happy times here. The beautiful colors and designs represented when she first met her husband, when their wedding, the birth of their 3 children. There were other beautiful parts too, which stood for watching her children take their first steps, riding a bike for the first time, and graduating from college. But what about all the rips and wrinkles? Emily asked. Why are they there? These were for the sad times in her life, the woman explained. The time her best friend was stricken with measles, the time someone lied or did something to hurt her feelings, and the hole in the heart was left when her husband died. In fact, every time a person comes into my life that I care about, she explained, they take a piece of my heart with them. This was very distressing to Emily, thinking of the woman having to give part of her heart away to others. What happens, she asked, if you give it all away? You'll be left with nothing. No, I won't, the woman responded with a smile, because you see, they give me a piece of theirs as well. Emily looked down at her beautiful, perfect heart with the glitter and the designs she worked so hard to make. Then she looked again at the woman's heart, with all the jagged colors, rips, and wrinkles. At that moment, Emily ripped a piece off of her perfect heart and handed it to the woman. The woman was touched deeply by this small act. Thank you, the woman said as she glued it onto her mishmash heart. She then tore off a piece of her own heart and handed it to Emily, who was very grateful in return. That's the story, y'all. Thanks for coming up.
Now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
As a member of the League of Women Voters and someone who enjoys celebrating others' accomplishments, I recently attended a naturalization ceremony at the federal courthouse in Kansas City, Kansas. And you may have been to one of those wonderful ceremonies yourself. At first, the mood was subdued as the applicants and their supporters waited in long lines to enter the courthouse. They dressed for the occasion, and many came with family and some with interpreters. I met Hugo, who was born in the US to parents from Mexico. A dreamer as part of the DACA program, Hugo told me he overcame his fear of test taking, and the effort and the expense was well worth it to become a citizen. 88 beautiful faces of cultural diversity from 48 countries became Americans by choice that happy day. They stood smiling broadly when their country of origin was called, some waving small flags, and all receiving applause and cheers. At a time when too many people of color in our country are being cruelly torn from their loved ones and unjustly deported, this time-honored civil tradition was a healing moment for families from many nations. They came seeking recognition, as well as the stability and safety that citizenship can offer them and their families. The presiding judge, the Honorable Julie A. Robinson, described our social compact and its legal foundation. She said, "No matter how long you have been a citizen, for 2 minutes or 25 years, we all have the same rights, privileges, and duties." She added that as a Black woman, her ancestors were brought to this country against their will as slaves. But they were citizens, just as indigenous people who inhabited this land for millennia were also citizens. The crowning part of the ceremony was the recitation of the oath of citizenship. This oath requires many things. Among them, citizens bear arms when required by law, perform work of national importance, and to support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of America. It was a powerful experience for me to hear the oath reverberating in the halls of justice, the same oath taken by our elected officials. Then costume members of the sons and daughters of the American Revolution posed for photos after the ceremony with the new citizens as a symbol of our history informing our future. I believe our government and its traditions, at their best, can bind the wounds of our divided nation, as expressed by the quote that's etched at the entrance of the courthouse. It says, "If we are to keep our democracy, there must be one commandment: thou shalt not ration justice." We too can cultivate a just society from which we draw strength and common purpose, bringing into our circle of concern all who need our love and support. Now, let us move to the musical interlude.
There's a light in the darkness, and this light will never fade. It's a vow of hearts connected. It's a promise that I've made, that in times of misfortune, I'll be there to hold your hand. I'll be there to share the burden, and together we will stand. We will stand with you, no matter what you are going through. If there is ever anything that we can do, we will stand with you. Now it's time for all children everywhere across
We come to this place to see and be seen, to teach and to be taught, to hear and be heard. Now, reach over and nudge the person sitting next to you. We're here together, gathered in peace and authenticity and intention. We are also in this place to share our joys and sorrows. If you have a rare joy or profound sorrow, please come forward and share briefly in 2 to 3 sentences and light a candle.
Good morning. My name is Bonnie Till, and I have a joy to share with you. A young woman who grew up in the Unitarian Universalist Church in Wichita, Kansas, and has spent most of her adult life fighting to keep abortion available and safe, is now listed on Time Magazine's list of 100 of the greatest contributors to our world. Her name is Julie Burkhart, and she has lived with death threats and arson and stood tall against it, and I'm so proud of her. She's a wonderful young woman.
I'm Kay Azar, and I have recently completed CASA training, and I'm now working to be a CASA advocate for children, and it's making me very happy.
We have a CASA advocate, so thank you.
Good morning, I'm Jim Christ, and last week Kevin and I took our 6-year-old granddaughter to Disney World, and it is amazing to see the world through 6-year-old eyes, and now I'm broke. So.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Karen Burgee, and I have a profound sorrow. I want to remember those families with children who have cancer, ages 2, 4, and 7, who were deported this week.
Hi, I'm Tracy, and a lot of you know that I battled drugs for 39 years. I did have one little glitch not long ago, but with the exception of that, I have 10 months clean. I'm having my facial reconstructive surgery at the end of the month, which it's good. I'm going to be able to breathe again. And I'm getting ready to have my cubital tunnel syndrome taken care of. And I just bought a 2015 Nissan Murano, and I have never in my life had such a nice car. I'm still trying to make myself realize that I have come a long way. Thank you.
I'm Alyssa, and I have a candle of sorrow and concern. I'm really struggling financially. Everything I make, it just goes away so fast to pay off bills, and I'm broke, and I need to find a way to support myself despite my job. It's just getting very hard for me to survive, and I just ask for your support as I go through this.
Last week in our Soul Matters, it was about joy, and I brought something that was very special. And it brought me great joy. And to quote a Lucinda Williams song, which probably none of you know, I guess it goes, "You took my joy and I want it back." And I got it back, thanks to some really good people.
Hi, my name is Shawnee, and I light a candle of joy for Terry Cushman, who is not here, but has, I think, the last 13 years been involved in the AIDS walk, and I don't know how many years has led a team from SMUUCh to walk in the AIDS walk. Unfortunately, he wasn't with us yesterday, but we walked on without him, and I think the largest group of walkers from SMUUCh so far. And I want to thank everybody that walked with us. We had a great time. There were 14 on the list, and thanks for everybody that came.
Thank you. My name's Colette, and I'd like to light a combined candle of joy and sorrow for my friend Barb Virginia Mankey, who is my neighbor, and she died at 88, and she was like a second mom to me, and I miss her a lot. But I also remember so many good memories of Barb. So Barb, this one's for you. And I light the final candle for all who did not speak but hold their joys and sorrows in the silent sanctuaries of their heart.
We hear your words. We witness your life in all of its heaviness, in all of its brilliance, and we carry your joys and sorrows in a shared heart.
Please join me for a moment of prayer and meditation. Take a moment, settle in, breathe deep the spirit of life and love, the spirit of mystery and wonder, passing within and between us all. We know the importance of carving out time for ourselves and for our well-being. And we know that this time is as good as any other time to stop, to be still, to reflect, and to say out loud that we need help. We can't do this on our own. We are not islands, but we are a small part of an intricate web, connected to and supporting each other. Maybe bring awareness to those strands right now, tethers keeping us together, finely tuned strings that can sing a beautiful and harmonious melody. These strings are also ripe with tension. They are tuned to particular keys, particular notes. There are also chords of dissonance, conflicting melodies, syncopation, harmony. All of us together are experiencing joy and sorrow, hope and sickness, health and heaviness, levity and despair. In this moment, in this calm and centered space, we're able to draw our focus to the people in our lives that need support right now, starting with ourselves. Let's find a posture of blessing, both internally and externally. Maybe placing a hand over your heart or one hand on your belly. Join me for a meditation of loving kindness. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. Some of you might know these words, and if you do, say them with me. We're going to take a breath and think now about how we can impact the people around us, the you. Think first of your community of love and support. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. Take another deeper breath as we move through another round, maybe a more complex round, where that complicated version of you might be a person that frustrates you or annoys you. Yes, even him. Yes, even her. No one is outside this loving embrace. Once more. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. And one more final breath before we say it together with a we. We say a blessing for the world, for all of life, from the elephants to the microbes, for our planet itself, for the whole interconnected web of which we are a part. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be whole. And who else might we lift up into this care of this community? Let us be aware of the breadth of our circle as we draw it ever wider, knowing that we are more equipped to do this together than we are alone. May it be so, and amen.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
The first reading is called This Faith by Heidi Kottman. Let us be a faith that gathers, reaching for one another through the walls of hate others build, through the cages of ignorance and arrogance, and through the fear that burns city streets.
Let us be a faith that sees a vision of a better world, more compassionate, more just, more holy, and with more love.
There is a faith that binds up the broken, cauterizes battle wounds with the balm of peace, sings longer and louder than the trumpets of war. Let us be that faith too.
Let us be the ones who do not tread lightly in this world, but who light it up with our love, who hold up the mirror of worth and dignity, who are the sanctuary others seek. But first,
let us be the faith that worships together. Here, this morning, in this space, at this moment, let us be a faith. The second reading is called Go Boldly by Jean M. Olson. May you be brave enough to expose your aching woundedness and reveal your vulnerability. May you speak your deepest truths, knowing that they will change as you do. May you sing the music within you, composing your own melody, playing your song with all your heart. May you draw, paint, sculpt, and sew, showing the world your vision. May you write letters, poetry, biography, slogans, graffiti, the great novel, laying bare your words to love and hate. May you love even though your heart breaks again and again. And until the end of your days, may your life be filled with possibilities and courage.
For those that don't know me, I'm Reverend Jack Gaede. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm the associate minister at White Bear UU Church up in near St. Paul, Minnesota. I did my internship here at All Souls UU in Kansas City. And so back then, 2017, 2018, I got to know Rose a little better and some of the people and ministers of that church. And what a lovely time it was. I actually guest preached here in January of 2018, but it's been a while. So I might not remember any of your names or faces, but it's good to see you all again and good to be back. You know, up at my church, every year the ministers put one item into the annual service auction where the winning bidder gets to choose a sermon topic. As you can imagine, I always feel a certain amount, probably the appropriate amount, of trepidation when I willingly offer the choosing of a future sermon topic up for bidding. I have no idea what the winning bidder will want me to preach about and explore. And fortunately for them, they only choose the question that needs exploration, not the answer. Unfortunately for me. No, this is actually fortunate for me because I get to do my own searching because I have to still preach my own authentic truth and not someone else's. Needless to say, I was pleasantly surprised recently when the winning bidder offered me the topic that needs exploring right now. He and his wife had just had their first child, a boy, and they asked a very simple question. How should my wife and I raise a son in this current moment? Right? Just an easy topic. Anyone out there have some answers for me? No, actually, go ahead and shout some out. How should we raise our kids right now? I'm curious. Carefully. What I hear over here? Ballet classes. Yeah. What else? Love. Thankfully. One more time. Someone over here said something I didn't hear. Listening, yes. The UU Church. What else? Without social media. Nature. Literacy. What is it? Softness, yeah. Teaching, understanding. Respect. To expect change and more change, yeah. One more time? Humility. Yeah. Boundaries. Empathy. Yeah, I saw that on your sign this morning. Empathy is your superpower? That's awesome. All right, sermon's over. You guys answered it. No, I mean, but really, what a great question, right? And since this child they're raising is a boy, how do we raise our boys right now? Especially with all the political happenings within this context overrun by misogyny and patriarchy, with both acknowledged and unacknowledged male privilege alive and well. And also, amidst this necessary, long overdue moment that we are currently experiencing, this moment where we are complicating our own understanding of gender and sexuality. This has been a process, of course, that goes in phases, which is why feminism has been categorized by waves, right? Second wave feminism began in the 60s, third wave in the 90s, Depending on who you ask, many people say we're either in the 4th or 5th wave right now. So how do we raise our children? So much has changed since the 60s, since the 90s, or even since 2010. Since 2010, we have experienced the Me Too movement. We've witnessed the Christine Blasey Ford testimony at the hearing of Brett Kavanaugh, the Women's March of 2017, the more recent march some of you may have done, the People's March of 2025. And that's just to name a few. We've learned so much as individuals, and I want to believe that we've learned a lot culturally and collectively. But sometimes I doubt that as much learning is happening as I assume, or as I want to happen. The amount of politicians accused of sexual assault or harassment or infidelity or paying large amounts of money to adult film stars has gotten so large that it seems like nothing actually disqualifies someone from public office anymore. I look back on some of the political scandals of our past as almost quaint, like think Gary Hart in the 1980s or Alexander Hamilton in the 1790s. They were both deemed unqualified or unfit for public office when their extramarital affairs were uncovered. Dare I long for days like that again? When it comes to the various social movements that are animating our world right now, feminism, in all of its various waves, is just one of them. We're living in a world that has been changed by the Black Lives Matter movement. We've had our understanding of gender identity and expression broadened and expanded as we've listened deeply to the stories of our trans and non-binary siblings. And as a result of these movements, there's a countercultural push, a movement afoot that's pushing back against woke culture. You've probably heard this, right? I want to just name that plainly as what it is. It's an attempt to go back to sleep. It's an attempt to return to the status quo, where many people were made invisible. When the status quo tries to reign supreme again, it's as if the majority class are saying, this system works just fine for me. Yeah, we know. One example I heard recently went like this. Let's stop being politically correct and just call all the people who run the various boards and companies chairmen. Most of them are men anyway, and I don't think that women should be offended by being called chairmen. Okay, but we know that if the shoe was on the other foot, I don't believe that any man would be okay being called a chairwoman, right? And also, what's so hard about just calling them chairs? For example, the chair of the board just banged her gavel, and she wants you to take a seat, in more ways than one. This move against woke culture is also a push against enlightenment. It's a push against a more enlightened way of speaking that utilizes more nuance. This nuanced and enlightened way of thinking involves understanding that not every person is like you, or wants to be like you, or has a life like yours. We are different, and that's a good thing. I might even call it a great thing. Our diversity is our strength, and when we stop celebrating it, or even when we legislate against celebrating it, we are short-circuiting the prospect of being a more perfect union of people with different religions and languages and perspectives. We are at risk of flattening out our world, which reminds me of one of the best graphic novels that I have ever read. It is called Unflattening by Nick Sousanis, and it was the first ever comics form doctoral dissertation at Columbia University. In it, the author explores the richness of life that gets accentuated when we honor multiple perspectives. He argues his point by talking about a book he once read called Flatland by Edwin Abbott. Maybe some of you have heard of that one or read it. Okay, I see a few hands. In this book, Flatland, all the people are two-dimensional. The main protagonist is a person named A Square. And one day, A Square encounters a sphere. He has no framework for understanding what a sphere is, because Mr. A Square only exists and sees in two dimensions. It takes him a long time to even understand what this sphere is and how it operates. but he definitely has no idea how to explain what he's just experienced to his fellow Flatlanders, without them thinking that he's lying or somehow unhinged from reality. The author, Nick Susanis, uses the story of Flatland to highlight the importance of remaining open to new perspectives, even ones that are hard to understand or accept, even ones that might totally shift your whole understanding of the world. Now, in this metaphor, Mr. A Square attempts to convince a few of his fellow Flatlanders that a circle could be more than a circle. What if the circle weren't just flat, but also had the third dimension of depth? Could it be a sphere? And he might have convinced a few of his fellow Flatlanders about this third dimension, but many people still don't believe him. I'm aware that there's a current analogy to like flat earth theory, so just let that ruminate. Those Flatlanders that start believing in the third dimension and accepting stories from three-dimensional beings and their lived experience start talking about their learning process as an awakening, an enlightenment. They once understood the world one way, and now they are awake to a new reality that they didn't know before. The other Flatlanders that still don't see or believe in the third dimension start getting upset by these awake or woke believers. When it comes down to it, they are afraid of this third dimension because their grandparents and their parents never knew anything about it. And if they believed it now, wouldn't they be undercutting the very education that their ancestors gave them? And when people are afraid of certain ideas, they often make fun of them. Because if people are feeling insecure or insignificant, they can feel bigger and more important by putting down or mocking other people or ideas. Does this sound familiar? Yeah. But Susanis, the author, asks his readers to stay open to the fresh knowledge that comes from new perspectives. So what I said to that couple that won the auction item and chose my sermon topic, I'll say to you as well. We're still learning, and that's a good thing. One important lesson for your son, and for all of our children, really, and youth, and for all of us, really, is the importance of being a lifelong learner. And we can set that example here by celebrating education throughout our whole lifespan. And that takes humility and courage. It takes guts to admit that we may have gotten it wrong years ago, or at the very least that we know better now. And when you know better, you can do better. You know, back when I was an intern at All Souls, Rose and I facilitated a program for these two congregations to work together called Beloved Conversations. Were any of you part of that back 7 years ago? A couple of you? Beautiful program. An anti-racism workshop, right? And I don't know about you, but sometimes when people start learning about racism, lots of feelings come up, right? Maybe they didn't know earlier, and it's actually hard and almost shameful to admit what they didn't know. I, at my church in White Bear, created a class that also had an anti-racism lens, and I, in an early session, asked them, I'm off script here, hope that's okay. I asked them, when is the last time you learned something that brought you joy? Like the process of learning brought you joy. And they had a really hard time answering it. And I thought about that a lot. We're in a class that was dedicated to anti-racism work, right? So in that context, when someone was learning about racism and the way it permeates everywhere, they had guilt and shame attached to their learning, right? When we learn, we have to admit that we've been wrong in the past, and that's so hard. What if we admit that we're all lifelong learners, always learning, right? Learning from mistakes. We weren't perfect 10 years ago. We weren't perfect yesterday, right? We're all on a journey. So this is the thing that's animating underneath this. For many of us, this learning happens when we become parents and when we choose to parent differently than our parents did. We retain some of the wisdom and strategies, but we find new ones too, right? This is not a slam on our older generations. It's a manifestation of the reality that we have learned a lot, culturally, collectively. We've lived through these many different social movements I talked about earlier, right? We're the recipients of the lessons that each of these movements has taught us, unless we're too stubborn to learn those lessons or improve our behavior. Speaking of which, our current president is undoing the majority of the progress that our governmental systems have made in the world of DEI, aka diversity, equity, and inclusion. This is incredibly disheartening and frankly unsurprising. I recently had a friend tell me that when he hears people complain about DEI, he asks them, which part are you opposed to, diversity, equity, or inclusion? Right? A pointed question, because this language has become almost a slur to people with certain political affiliations. They don't even remember what it stands for or what's behind it. That we can keep using the words as they were intended and sticking to our values, right? That values diversity, equity, and inclusion. Inclusion is one of our core values as Unitarian Universalists. And there are many times when we can't just sit back and expect our government and political leaders to be leading us boldly and progressively into the future that we are dreaming of and working toward. And in those times, it is incumbent upon us to take up that mantle. When our leaders are de-emphasizing or outright banning DEI practices, then we are compelled to demand them even louder and to practice them ourselves in even bolder ways. Let's talk about inclusion at every turn and pursue it with passion. Let's tell stories about how inclusion has benefited us, how it has benefited our communities. Let's tell stories about when we have been included, when we have done the including. Let's tell stories about how much richer life is when you include multiple different perspectives rather than flattening things and only including the stories that shore up what we already believe or confirm the way we already think. Let's continue that work of unflattening our world. Let's add more perspectives and more nuance, more dimensions that need attention. Let's make America complicated again. Let's resist the urge of the single story. As our poet said earlier, let us be the ones who do not tread lightly in this world, but light it up with our love, who hold up the mirror of worth and dignity, who are the sanctuary others seek. May it be so, y'all, and make it so. Amen.
Before we take the offertory, I would like to welcome Reverend Jack Gaede's special guests today, his partner Garrett and friend Ruth. We're so glad you're here. Welcome. I know you made a long journey. And please do welcome them. Welcome them after the service. The work of the church depends on us, our generosity of time, wisdom, and financial resources. We invite you to give generously to support the ongoing work of the church. The offering will now be given and received in grateful appreciation of our shared values.
River of love, wash over me. Cleanse all the loneliness and fear out of me. Fill my heart so I can trust again. River of love, wash over me. River of peace, wash over me, over me. Cleanse all the hatred and anger
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Please rise as you are willing and able for our closing hymn, number 1053 in the Teal hymnal, How Could Anyone?
How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul.
I know that it can feel tender and vulnerable to wear your values on your sleeve, but I hope that you leave this morning's service with a little extra bravery. Let's hear again some of the words from our reading by Jean Olson. May you be brave enough to expose your aching woundedness and reveal your vulnerability. May you speak your deepest truths, knowing that they will change as you do. May you sing the music within you, composing your own melody, playing your song with all your heart. And until the end of your days, may your life be filled with possibilities and courage. Go in peace.